The contentious Ayodhya matter will be heard in the Supreme Court today. We look at the origins of the Babri Masjid Ram Temple dispute. On land, protests. In the sky, a giant orange baby balloon. US President Donald Trump is finally on his UK work visit. He may be meeting the Queen, but we tell you why he isn't welcome. And who would have thought? Croatia make the finals of the FIFA World Cup, the smallest country to do so since 1950. Will take on the mighty French on Sunday. It's Friday, July 13th. The Supreme Court will today resume hearing the challenge to the Allahabad High Court's 2010 judgment in the contentious Ayodhya dispute, also known as the Babri Masjid Ram Temple case. The Allahabad High Court had in 2010 ordered that the land be divided equally among three parties, the Sunni Waqf Board, the Nirmohi Akhada and Ram Lalla. That was challenged in the Supreme Court. Let's look back at the origins of the dispute and what led to the demolition of the Babri Masjid. In 1986, the government of then Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi enacted a law overturning a progressive Supreme Court judgment in the Shah Bano case. The law limited the husband's obligation to pay maintenance only for a period of 90 days after divorce, according to the provisions of Islamic law. This move to placate the hardline Muslim clergy is widely acknowledged as the domino that set in motion a series of events that led to the demolition of the 16th century mosque Babri Masjid. But the storm over the 2.77 acres of land in Ayodhya had started brewing a century before that. The first documented incident of violence was in 1853 when the Nirmohi Akhada, a Hindu sect, claimed that a temple had been destroyed during Babur's reign in order to build a mosque. In 1859, the British colonial administration built a fence to separate the places of worship, demarcating the inner court to be used by Muslims and the outer court by Hindus. In 1885, Mahant Raghubar Das took the matter to court, filing a suit before the sub-judge of Faizabad, seeking permission to construct a temple on the Ram Chabutra. That plea was rejected by the Faizabad District Court. More than 5 decades later, in 1949, idols of Ram Lalla mysteriously appeared inside the mosque under the central dome. It was allegedly placed there surreptitiously as a mob laid siege to the site. The government declared the site as disputed and the property was locked and given to a receiver. On 16 January 1950, Gopal Singh Vishrad filed a suit in the Faizabad Civil Court seeking restraint on the removal of idols. Between 1950 and 1961, 4 separate suits were filed. The pleas varied from seeking permission to perform puja to handing over charge of the entire disputed site. In 1961, the Sunni Central Waqf Board filed a case against the placing of idols inside the mosque, stating that the mosque and the surrounding land was a graveyard. While the legal battle played out at a slow pace, Ram Janmabhoomi as a violent political movement would begin to take shape only in 1982, when the Vishwa Hindu Parishad launched its Ram Temple movement. Faced with intense criticism for capitulating to the All India Muslim Personal Law Board and Muslim hardliners, Rajiv Gandhi was reportedly advised to strike a balance. And so Rajiv Gandhi and his chief advisor Arun Nehru, in a move to appease the Hindu community, persuaded the UP chief minister to get the locks to the site opened and allow for religious rites. The VHP, which saw this as a huge victory, ramped up their plans. In June 1989, the BJP officially adopted the Ram Janmabhoomi issue with a resolution passed at the party's national executive in Palampur. Days before the Lok Sabha election in November 1989, the Rajiv Gandhi government allowed the VHP to perform the Shilanyas, or the ground-laying ceremony for the temple. In 1990, VHP volunteers partially damaged the mosque. Then Prime Minister Chandrasekhar's attempts at negotiation failed. In what became a watershed event, BJP stalwart Lal Krishna Advani embarked on a Rath Yatra from Somnath in 1990, an event that would change the course of the BJP. As the Rath proceeded through multiple states, Whipping up Hindu fervour, there was a backlash with riots breaking out at different places. In October 1990, the Rath was halted in Samastipur, Bihar, and Advani was placed under arrest by the Lalu Prasad government. Meanwhile, car sevaks were assembling in Ayodhya at the exhortation of the VHP and Advani. The Mulayam Singh Yadav government had ordered a complete lockdown in Ayodhya. The UP Provisional Armed Constabulary were deployed in Ayodhya in large numbers. Defying the curfew in place, about 1,000 car sevaks made it to Ayodhya. As one of them attempted to commandeer a UP police bus, in the ensuing melee, the security forces fired at the crowd. 16 people were killed. It is this firing that earned Mulayam Singh the sobriquet of Mullah Mulayam. The VHP and the BJP looked to mobilize people using the police firing. The Asthi Yatra, undertaken all over the country, triggered riots, leaving many dead. The BJP reaped electoral benefits of the communally charged atmosphere, winning an unprecedented 120 seats in the 1991 general election, becoming the main opposition party. The party also rose to power in Uttar Pradesh. On December 1st, 1992, special trains loaded with car sevaks from different states begin to arrive in Ayodhya. Over 2 lakh car sevaks arrive. They are taught how to destroy the masjid. Tools for demolition are distributed. A dargah of an 18th century Sufi saint is attacked in the masjid premises on 4th December. On 5th December, L.K. Advani, Murli Manohar Joshi, Uma Bharti, several stalwarts of the BJP and VHP arrive. Early in the morning on 6th December, car sevaks begin the demolition of the mosque. It takes 6 hours to bring the masjid down. Is that a bird? A plane? Is that Superman? No. It's a 6-meter-long, inflated Trump baby balloon, which, flapping off at Parliament Square in London, is setting the mood for Trump's UK visit. The balloon was approved as a means of protest by London Mayor Sadiq Khan after a crowdfunding campaign raised £18,000 and resounding support for it. Described as the most controversial visit ever made by an American president to Britain by BBC's diplomatic correspondent, Trump's 4-day work visit to the UK began yesterday afternoon. While the US president will meet the Queen and Prime Minister Theresa May before spending 2 days of private time in his Scotland resort, he will not address Parliament, which is the usual honour given to visiting international leaders. Considering that 2 of Trump's earlier planned visits to the UK were cancelled after massive protests both from MPs and the general public, the huge protest planned against his visit in over 13 separate locations across the country should not be a surprise to him. Calling himself Mr. Brexit, Trump has indiscriminately supported Brexit, which is taking Britain through arguably its most chaotic period in recent times. Over 60,000 people are expected to march to London's Trafalgar Square today in a carnival of resistance. Thursday has already seen demonstrations wherever Trump went. A high metal fence was erected around the US ambassador's residence in London, where Trump and his wife Melania stayed overnight to keep out protesters. His visit has prompted the largest mobilization of police officers since the UK's 2011 riots. 1.9 million people had also signed a petition to stay Trump's meeting with the Queen, saying Donald Trump's well-documented misogyny and vulgarity disqualifies him from being received by Her Majesty the Queen. However, for Theresa May, whose decision to see through a soft Brexit, or one that will preserve the EU's trade values, has led to a fractured parliament, the visit is an opportunity for better post-Brexit trade and security ties between the US and the United Kingdom. But well, if President Trump thinks the UK is turbulent, Monday holds a visit to Helsinki, where he will be meeting Vladimir Putin. Sleep well, Mr. Brexit. Croatia has resolved a predicament the English would have found themselves in and had been debating the last week. Should the Wimbledon men's final start time on Sunday be moved, given that it was clashing with the FIFA World Cup finals? Well, Croatia dashed English hopes of the cup coming home and in the process became the smallest country to reach the World Cup final since 1950, as well as the lowest ranked. Croatia will now take on the mighty French on Sunday. As our sports editor says, let no one tell you that Croatia don't deserve this. They beat Argentina, Nigeria and Iceland in the group stage and have worked their way past Denmark, Russia and England in the knockout rounds. This has not been an easy journey. But now that they're in the final, can they rouse that undying spirit in time and bring it to the party when they take on France on the 15th of July? It won't be easy, but if anyone can do it, Croatia can. Just like the incredible Thai 13 did, against all odds. No, these budding footballers won't be able to accept the FIFA president's invitation to fly down to Moscow for the finals this Sunday, but snuggled together in a specially quarantined ward, they should be able to get back home within a week and rejoin school in a month. You bring out your munchies, and we'll meet you on Monday.